6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m., it's Thursday, March 26, 2020. It's 28 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill, located in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th, across from Walmart. They are doing takeout from 4 to 8, and give them a call at 556-6212. Or go online to check out their menu at theclubtavernandgrill.com. Well, morning, Shane.
Good morning. It's Thursday.
Well, the bad news is 5 more cases in Gallatin. And we've gone from 12 to 19 to 24 in 3 days.
Well, again, it's the testing, right? So.
Well, it could be. I don't know.
But wait, you can't be surprised that it's expanded.
Well, it's expanded more dramatically in Gallatin than it has anywhere else. We're double Billings, which is the next closest, with 12. And we're the only county that has a confirmed case in every age group except 80 to 89.
Wow, that's good news. Yeah.
It is. It seems like we are a lot more spreading age groups out there than the other counties do.
Well, it's not an unexpected thing, because they said this would be the worst week last week. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and it is turning out to be that. But what distresses me, and I talked about it yesterday, is that we increased in the 60 to 69 group, and we increased in the 20 to 29 group and the 40 to 49 group. Yeah, so that's
not a good number there.
No, it isn't a good. It's not a good sign there at all. So,
well, 3,385 in Canada, 195 deaths. No, excuse me, 31 deaths, 195 recovered.
You're cutting out. I'm going to put you on the phone.
Our numbers aren't extreme, but they've come up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're number 2, are we? I guess. We're almost tied with Ontario.
Yeah.
659 in British Columbia with 14 deaths.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other good news is we only have one hospitalization in the state. I'm not sure where that is. But apparently that person was admitted when they went to the hospital and were diagnosed at the hospital with symptoms. So they were admitted to the hospital there. So,
yeah, the only good news here is we have 183 that recovered in British Columbia.
Yeah.
So that's the largest number in the country.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's looking a little dire for our little community here. I wish we were more like the other counties. But,
yeah.
I mean, Billings has 100,000 people. You would think they would be the leader. Great Falls has got a bigger population than we do, and Missoula, they have a college as well.
Well, I guess it's all
so
those
does Billings.
foreigners.
You know.
All those foreigners flying in to your airport wanting to go to Yellowstone Park.
Well, I think that's probably part of it. Plus, the diversity of our university here might be more so than others. Not sure
closed,
about that,
right?
But I'm sorry. Yeah, they're closed. Yeah, the students are gone. So, yeah, in our situation, we've got one male in his 60s.
No, excuse me.
You're supposed to turn your thing down when you do that.
Yeah, I don't. Why didn't it work?
I don't know. Male in his 60s in California. Oh, it's because you're on the phone.
All right.
Yeah, because you were breaking up on the Skype. California resident in his 60s and male in his 20s from New Hampshire that are in our count, and I think we got a lady in Maryland too. But still, we've
that's right.
Yeah,
right.
we've increased quite a bit. So I don't know.
Not unexpected. You know, the experts are saying that it's, you know, you haven't reached the pinnacle of the infection. So,
Nope.
yep.
Nope.
But it's time for the weather so everybody can settle in.
Well, it is. And of course, we've got a weather statement. Of course.
Like official?
Yeah. Beaverhead, Madison, Jefferson, Broadwater, Marr, Gallatin, and the cities of Big Hole Pass, Wisdom, Dillon, Chief Joseph Pass, Wise River, Ennis, Norris Hill, Reynolds Pass, Twin Bridges, Virginia City, Montana City, Boulder, Boulder Hill, Elk Park, Homestake Pass, Whitehall, Townsend, Winston, Martindale, White Sulphur Springs, Bozeman, West Yellowstone, Battle Creek Pass, and Bozeman Pass, and Targhee Pass. Icy road conditions have been reported early this morning as wet roads from recent snow begin to freeze as temperatures fall through the mid-20s. Interstate 90 is especially impacted from near Three Forks east to near Bozeman Pass. Areas of freezing fog will add additional moisture and icy conditions to some area roads. Extreme caution is advised if you're planning on traveling through these areas. Roads that appear to be wet are more likely icy or will soon become icy, covered with a layer of black ice. So be really careful out there on 90. Don't get overconfident that it's just wet out there, because it may not. It may be worse than that. So by all means, be careful out there. If you're traveling on 90 and anything happens, give us a call at 522-TALK, 522-8255. Let us know so that people can avoid those areas if they need to. But anyway, today we got a 20% chance of snow before 9 a.m. It was snowing when I came in this morning. Mostly sunny with a high near 40 degrees today. So whatever snow we get shouldn't be too bad. And mostly clear tonight with a low around 21. And Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 42. No snow in the forecast for Friday. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 29. And on Saturday, a 20% chance of snow after the noon hour. Partly sunny with a high near 47. So no accumulation listed with those high temperatures in there. Saturday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 30. Winds could gust up to 18 to 20 miles an hour. Winds out of the southwest. And Sunday, a chance of rain afternoon. Partly sunny with a high near 50. So that'll get rid of whatever snow we've had probably here for a while. And then on Sunday night, chance of rain mixing with snow after 9 p.m., then gradually ending. No accumulation listed. And for your commute back to work on Monday, should be pretty nice. Mostly sunny with a high near 49. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low around 34. And then on Tuesday, a slight chance of rain, partly sunny with a high near 54. And Tuesday night, mostly cloudy, low around 33. And then on Wednesday, slight chance of rain, partly sunny with a high near 53. So we're getting some 50-degree temperatures out there, Shane. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's springtime. It's supposed to be looking good.
Well, that's true. Yeah, if we just get through March. We got a few more days to go here.
That's right, yeah.
All right, Livingston right now is at 28 degrees. Manhattan's 26 degrees. Three Forks is 26. Gallatin Gateway is 19. Big Sky is 14. West Yellowstone is 9 degrees. Gardner's 20 right now. And Ennis is 26 at the airport. In Belgrade, it's 20 degrees. We're right at 28 degrees here, so a little bit warmer than they are over there. And road conditions are bad no matter where you're going. I don't know if I need to read them all off or not, but if you're going from Billings to Butte, you are going to be in for a long day. So don't even think about it. Going up through Townsend to Helena, not good. Livingston to White Sulphur or down to Gardner, not good. Bozeman Pass, no. Ice and snow there. Homestake Pass, same story. Going down 191 or 287 down to the park. Not good going that way. And as I said, boy, going over to Billings, up to Harlowtown, any of those, you're going to hit snow and ice on the road. So not a good day to travel in those particular areas. Our poll question yesterday, will the government stimulus help you? And 41% said yes, $1,200 would be a big help. And 30% said no, I'm sure I don't qualify. So it's probably right. I don't think I qualify. And 5% said were undecided, and 3% said the money will go to those at the top. And some other answers we got. I'm sure it will get screwed up. It will help some, but is unnecessary as this is a foolish exercise. No, it will not create more. No, it will create more debt. We need to pay back plus interest later on. It won't help me if I'm dead from the virus, I guess.
From the virus.
Right. Do Social Security recipients qualify? I don't know if they do or not. I haven't heard if Social Security folks are in that thing or not. Probably not.
No, I haven't seen anything about any benefit from this package.
Yeah, no, for anybody who's retired or any of that. So I'm probably out on that one, So
yeah, they just want to save us. They don't want to take care of us.
So, well, if I got $1,200, that'd balance out my taxes.
Well, that's what I mean. It'd be sort of a nice deal for you.
You should give it back to me. If the government was not overreacting, we would not be making our debt worse, and probably won't get anything, yes, but at the cost of future inflation and taxes, and that may be true, certainly. Our poll question today, Joe Biden has resurfaced, and everything he's done has been a disaster. And a lot of people are looking to Andrew Cuomo from New York.
That's right.
As a possibility, because he seems to be on top of things and is articulate, more so than Joe, doesn't cough in his hands or wipe his face or say.
And he's on every day with his conference, so he's getting that free.
He is getting some free stuff. So anyway, our poll question today: Biden or Cuomo? Cuomo, I don't know. Cuomo for president, I guess. I don't know. Cuomo. You say Cuomo, I say Cuomo. I don't know. Anyway, who do you like?
Mr. Cucumber.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, 75% in early voting like Trump, only 25% like Cuomo, and Biden has no votes at all yet in early voting. So we'll keep tabs on that as we go along and see what's up with that. So. Right now, we got to take care of the ranchers, farmers, truck drivers, cab drivers, everybody who brings you booze, food, or clothing. And, hey, don't forget the Club Tavern and Grill. They are providing takeout dinners from 4 to 8 every day. So give them a call at 556-6212 or go online and look at their menu at the Club Tavern and Grill. So after a hard day's work, pick up something on the way home and have a nice dinner that you don't have to slave over a hot stove making. We'll be right back. That's right. We'll be right back right after this. 25 minutes after the hour, it's Thursday, March 26, 2020. And Shane, as you know, more time at home means using more energy than normal. So go to northwesternenergy.com for a list of free energy and money-saving tips, including settings for electronics, appliances, and heating equipment. There's more information available at northwesternenergy.com.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, Shane, I've been really remiss the past few days because I want to talk about scams. There's a whole bunch of scams going on related to this coronavirus, but other things as well. And I just wanted to tell people out there that, the Social Security is not going to call you. The IRS is not going to call you. They're going to send you registered letters in the mail. They are, if somebody calls you and tells you your Social Security number's been compromised or whatever, it's definitely a scam. And also on Facebook, if somebody sends you a warning about Congress doing something, it's just something to have you forwarded on, and they've got your friends included in that. They're just a fishing expedition there. They want you to forward stuff to your friends list, and then they have the whole list of your friends. So, it's best whenever these things come in from outside, definitely check them out. It just takes a couple of minutes to search and find out if something is kosher or not.
Yeah, really? I just delete them.
Well, me too. Yeah, I don't go along with that. For years there was something that Microsoft was going to donate $1 for every message to some kid with cancer or some dying child or whatever. And I mean, those are all scams. They're all fishing expeditions and things like that. Or they have warnings that this person is a scammer. Don't take a message from him or her and forward that on to somebody else. And as you forward it on, your whole list of friends are sitting there, and they now have more things to scam you with. So be careful out there. Seniors are particularly vulnerable because they tend to believe the worst sometimes. I'm one. Shane's one. So sometimes we grew up in a more honest society, I think. So we tend to take people at their word and whatever. And sometimes that's to our detriment. And we don't want that to happen to any of our listeners out there. So be aware that no one is going to call you from the IRS or Social Security or any other government agency. Yeah.
The first time it happened, it was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. And I was shopping for food. And so my arms were all full because, I don't need a
big amount. And then I got this phone call. And so I took the phone call, and I'm sort of holding the phone, and it says, the federal government has issued a warrant for your arrest because this and that. And it scares a person like me, old and retired, Sure. What? There's a warrant for my arrest?
Yeah.
yeah, you just delete them. Don't even answer it and move on. That's it.
Yeah, they are not going to call you and tell you there's a warrant for your arrest. The cops are just going to show up. That's right.
Definitely, yeah.
And also, your cousin or your nephew is not in jail in Mexico.
Yeah.
Don't send the money.
Yeah.
Don't send the money to bail them out. Hey, they deserve it, All right. That's going to wrap it up for this segment. We'll be back with more coming up right after this. Mike McCormick's going to join us at 7 o'clock. And the stimulus package and the market's been roller coastering all week long. So we'll see what Mike has to say about what's going on with the markets and all of that. So stay tuned for that. And we'll also be talking about real estate, too. So that may be affected by all this. So we'll be right back right after this important words. 24 minutes for the top of the hour. And boy, Shane, more cases. They're talking about more closings in Bozeman and the surrounding area. They're talking about ordering tattoo parlors, tanning salons, nail studios, salons, barbershops to close. They're going to be talking about that in a meeting this morning that'll start in about 25 minutes if you want to get down to the courthouse and check it out. But they think we maybe need to go a little further. So.
Well, excuse me. So, me, I'm a numbers guy. So yesterday I spent about 2 hours. It was really hard to figure this out. But anyway, through the CDC website and a couple other major websites that are credible, I went back and looked at the flu pandemic, and the number of people that have been infected and died since 2009. So in 2009, the U.S. 60.8 million people got the H1N1. And 274,000 hospitalizations and 12,469 deaths. In Montana, you had 961 cases. 9 people died, and there were 19 hospitalizations. The reason I did this was it's not intended to be a comparison necessarily of what we're dealing with today. But I just thought it was important because, when you look at what's happened in the 11 years since H1N1 in 2009, illnesses. There's been it's 400 million, over 400 million flu illnesses in that time. Excuse me. There's been, 20 million, 200 million medical visits, and I guess 5 million hospitalizations, and 400,000 deaths. Now, I'm mentioning this because your medical services throughout that whole period of time has handled it all, respirators and all, right?
Yeah.
Personal protection, and because it's a similar type issue. We know that we've been dealing with it since 2009. And I think these are numbers you want to keep in mind. Yes, this is more contagious. Yes, it's more of a virus that attacks your lungs, and particularly older people, as talked about. But I think we got to keep the rationale in mind of where we go from here. And, there's the big discussion of when do you start, rolling this out, like bringing back the economy. So now that they passed the big $2.2 trillion, which with the money the Federal Reserve has been granted, that can be leveraged, as we talked about yesterday, to another $4 trillion. I think we just try to look at it in the context of, it's not hard to do what they're asking you to do. Stay at home, a bit of a holiday, and most of us are at home anyway because it's winter, and just do the public thing that they're saying, and try and stay away from people, which you've done since you were a kid because you couldn't go to mama and grandma's if you had a cold or the flu.
Yeah,
that stuff. So I think there's a lot of positive stuff on the horizon, and all the medications we've talked about now for 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're turning out to have credible effects, and they're getting great results. So I do think he will pull the trigger. I think he's picked the 12th because, particularly with these medications that we've talked about, the hydroxychloroquine and the antibiotic, the Z-Pak, I think he wants there to be enough on hand because, what's happening is it's being hoarded. Doctors are hoarding it for their families.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think once they go public with it, of course, everyone's going to want it. But even wealthy people and sports people, they're getting their doctors to issue these meds to them. So it's going to be another interesting month, not just because of what's happening, but the rollout. And then, of course, there is that clinical study now going on, 10,000 people in New York State with these medications. And we'll move on from there.
All right, man. All right, we've got a caller waiting on the line. Let's go to the phones. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, good morning, Tom and Shane.
Hey, you're early.
You are early.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys or anybody's talked about this, but the other day I thought maybe I would come out of retirement and get one of these cushy federal jobs. And so I went on the job site, and I came across 2 jobs that I thought were interesting. And one of them was for Public Health Advisor Quarantine Program, Department of Health and Human Services. The other one was Public Health Advisor Quarantine Program, CDC, multiple locations. The jobs were posted on November 15th, both of them, and they run to May 15th, 20. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Here they are looking for people to run quarantine programs in November. And I don't think that we knew anything about this virus on the 15th of November, but maybe we did. I don't know.
Well, maybe they were thinking about the flu season.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's kind of coincidental in hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah, and Pompeo's out there every day saying, China lied, China lied, China lied.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I found out too, Pete, there's only been 2 incidences in the last 11 years with the H1N1 where the government has issued 2 vaccines. So they got the first one wrong. I think that they didn't say that, but they in November in November they issued a second vaccine. So that's probably what they were looking for people, because 179 million people took it, and the numbers have been. It's been a bad year for H1N1. I mean, 51,000 people dying. That's a lot of people, Pete.
Yep, it is. Well, I got a question for you too.
All right.
If delaying aid to the Ukraine is impeachable, is Pelosi impeachable for delaying aid to America?
Oh, boy. Now we're talking.
I like that.
Yeah, they're not going to take this up till Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but
they may not even vote on it till Monday, because they're going to debate it on Friday, and they may send it back to the Senate.
Right. When seconds count, your legislature's only hours away.
That's right. That's right.
The thing is, I want the phone call between Pelosi from her private jet to Cuomo on Monday, and Senator, what's his name, with crying Schumer.
Yeah.
Of New York, because Cuomo tore into Schumer on Wednesday, for allowing Pelosi to come in from California, and pushed him into the corner and told him what to do and shook a finger at him or whatever she does.
And this isn't. I don't know if you guys heard anything about this. I tried to get dates and I couldn't get dates, but they've arrested this Harvard professor for not paying taxes on under the table money he got from China. And this involves the coronavirus. Okay, I think his name is Leeds or Weeds or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a student of his / member of the Chinese military was arrested boarding a plane in Logan Airport with virus in his socks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's pretty big.
And I tried to get a date. I tried to get a date for this, and I couldn't. There was no date in the article. They don't put important information like that.
Yeah, I know. We don't want to know that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to. We no need to know that. And of course, you got
the big chatter coming out of China. On what's it called? It's not Twitter. I can't ever remember what.
TikTok.
TikTok. Thanks, Tom. Eagle man, he covers me all the time. Anyway, the big talk on TikTok is that government President for Life Xi is in trouble. The generals are getting real nervous. Got 1.4 million people and 4 million guys in the People's Army to police them. But the point is they think he's handled this really bad, and they're afraid people are going to turn their back on China and maybe stop trading with him. So that could be an interesting situation, because he has botched it. You gotta agree. I mean, just from if you just look at it from a political standpoint of the way he's handled it, doesn't tell the world. Then accuses the U.S. that the U.S. military took it over there. Then threatens the U.S. that they're not going to send them medication or ship them stuff. I mean, you couldn't handle the. I mean, he's like the demolition party. Every time he decides to do something, it's always negative.
Yeah.
Oh, except 21 million phones missing over there, Shane.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Turned off all the phones.
21 million phones.
Yeah. It's like
I suppose we could say that the people were out of work and they couldn't pay their bill, but that's a pretty good pile of people right there. 21 million.
I know.
But
they're trying to make up for this, I guess. They sent 150,000 test kits to Prague. 80% of them failed.
Whoa. All right.
Yeah. So you do math on that one.
Happy New Year. I got to go, Pete. Thanks for the call.
You bet.
All right, man. Have a good day. All right, we got to take a short break. We'll be right back. 9 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Thursday. It's March 26, 2020. 28 degrees outside. We're looking for a high in the 40s today. Shane Tobin, half man, half amazing, is on the air. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Recently went over 3,500 downloads of our shows. Thank you very much for that support. And we're brought to you, of course, by the Club Tavern and Grill. They're located in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th, across from Walmart. And they are doing takeout dinners from 4 to 8. And give them a call at 556-6212. Or go online to theclubtavernandgrill.com, theclubtavernandgrill.com. and they've got a menu there, so you are set for supper.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, Eagle Man, the jobs report's supposed to be out here today within the next hour, I guess, right?
Right.
So what's your call? What do you think? You think it's over 10 million?
Well, they've already reported, I think, 20 million.
20 million?
Mm-hmm. I think that's what they reported just moments ago.
Oh, it's already out?
Well, that's what they're expecting.
Oh, wow. That's horrific.
Yeah. So it's going to destroy every everything we know about unemployment since the 1960s.
That's what they say. Yeah. Well, you would expect. I mean, look at all the industries that have been shut down. I mean,
well, that's true. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I mean, even Facebook and Google have laid people off.
Yeah. Yesterday we were wondering about the brothels in Nevada.
Yes. You went and looked. Okay, because I told you I wouldn't. That's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
From our app chat line, my mother lives in Pahrump, Nevada, and brothels are not open to the public. So, yeah, I gotta say it's, as I was saying yesterday, it's pretty hard to stay 6 feet away from somebody and have any fun.
That's right. Yeah. Especially when you've paid to have that fun.
That's true. Yeah.
That's more expensive than going and laying on a couch and talking to a psychologist.
That's not good. Yeah.
You should just go into a church and confess. It's free.
Right. Well, apparently when you and I were talking a while ago about getting connected on Skype, we went over the air, so we can hear you and Shane and the commercial all at once. So.
Oh, we didn't mean
I pushed the wrong button, I think, on that one probably. So
it's okay.
All right. From our text line, 478-8298, I'm with Pete. Good time to weed off non-essential government employees. That would be all of Congress, in my opinion. Figure out what's absolutely necessary and lay off the rest. That's how private business works. Yeah.
That's right. It does, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. If we follow President Trump's guidelines during this time of COVID-19 virus, we'll probably have only a recession. We'll emerge from it stronger than before, just like the Roaring '20s. If we listen to Democrat leadership, this recession could become a global Great Depression. Can you imagine the devastation if Obama was still president? It's exactly like President Trump said, the cure can't be worse than the problem. Thank God for President Trump's level-headed approach, especially now.
Well, yeah, and today, he's having that G20 conference call. They were all supposed to meet at Camp David, and he canceled it. So they're going ahead with the meeting. But now that's a phone call you'd want to sort of be in on the boom. That would be because I think he's going to lower the boom. And it would be interesting because, my view was that, after he's realigning these trade agreements, and I think back in November, December, I thought, he'd finish up with Europe and then England and then tell the world that, he wants the World Trade Organization to dump China. Well, boy, if you didn't think you had reason to dump China before, you sure have reason now.
I was going to say, yeah. Well, as you mentioned earlier, too, that China may be in trouble because the generals may think that, hey, China's going to be cut out of world trade. And,
exactly.
I'm surprised a lot of countries haven't done that. And the other thing, China says they're not sure they're going to go along with the first part of the trade agreement with the United States.
Well, the bottom line is they really don't have a choice because they're.
Well, I know they don't, but I mean, for
the government's feeding everyone now.
Yeah.
So they need as much food as they can get from anyone that'll sell it to them. Really.
Yeah. I'm not sure how our farmers and ranchers are doing out there with the agreement. Also, the one with Canada and Mexico, the USMCA. So we haven't heard a whole lot of negative about that, but the coronavirus is sucking all the oxygen out of the room, and there really isn't any room for other news right now.
Well, that's right, and if you go to a big city and go to Chinatown in any big city, and you walk around to the restaurants, everything's hanging up, ducks and whatever are hanging up in the windows and stuff, and that's how their markets work, and so. there are two markets. There's the dry market, in other words, cooked food, and the wet market, uncooked. And they have claimed that they've shut down all the, the wet markets.
Mm-hmm.
There's some conflict in that because some people are getting information that that's not happened everywhere. But the point is you've got to feed people, 1.4 billion people every day. So, that's a huge logistical problem. And if you don't do that, you just multiply the issue that you're dealing with in other areas. So, yeah, they got a lot of problems. Thank God our 18-wheelers, boy, they're out 82% of what you consume every day comes from a trucker, folks. So, these boys and girls are out there driving the highway, which isn't as crowded as it used to be. And, gas is at a reasonable price for them. Diesel is down, so that's a good thing. And,
our gas went down to $2.14 this morning as I was driving in.
92 cents here. Can you believe this?
92 cents times 4.
I know, but 92 cents a liter, but 6 weeks ago it was $1.59.
Well, that's true, yeah.
I mean, that's serious. Now, you talk about a constraint. Wow.
Yeah.
But nobody's driving because everything's like shut down, right?
I know. You look at New York City, the news, and you look, there's no traffic, there's no taxi cabs out there. I wonder what they're doing for cab drivers in New York.
Well, can go anywhere, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. And I find that so strange, because that doesn't fit the quota, to separate. I mean, even if the driver's seat and then you're in the back right seat, that's not 6 feet.
Yeah.
It's like 3.
For all the heroes saying they and others will die for the common good, make sure that you pass that note to the doctor before he wastes a ventilator. Well, if you've done the 5 wishes, that is all you need. The doctor will have everything you need right there. And let's see. Obama created a pandemic response team. Trump disbanded it. Terrific progress. Well, that's not exactly accurate.
That's true.
Even if the number of cases rose to 60, Mr. Trump said at a news conference that infections were declining. We're going down, not up. We're going very substantially down, not up. He continued, as they get better, we take them off the list, and it's going to be pretty soon. Only 5 people, and please give me a break on that. It was way back at the very beginning of this, and nobody knew where it was going or what was happening with it. So please.
And by the way,
if you want to live in the past, read some books about the Civil War.
Yeah. So last night I meant to tell you the good news was the 9 o'clock my time, midnight Eastern time CDC report on testing.
Yeah.
Was in excess of 450,000, and based on that and the results, the death rate now is 0.9.
Yeah, we did more tests in 8 days than South Korea did in 8 weeks. So.
That's right. And so this is a great thing that the death rate is dropped to below 1%. Now it's similar to H1N1. So this is good news.
And Felucci or whatever his name is, the doctor, and Trump are on the same page. So that's a good thing. So, all right, we got to go. We'll be back right after the news at the top of the hour. Mike McCormick will be joining us by phone, and we'll be right back right after this. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Preserving Your Wealth with Mike McCormick, where we talk about smart ways to invest and preserve your money. Mike is a registered investment advisor with McCormick Financial Advisors in Bozeman, Montana. As an independent fiduciary, Mike does not receive commissions from any of the products or investments mentioned on this program. Consult a professional before making any investment decision. You can find old shows archived at McCormickFinancialadvisors.com. Learn, participate, interact.
And Mike McCormick is on the line. Shaman Taubman, Half Man, Half Amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And Mike, welcome to the show this morning. How you doing?
I am doing quite well, Thomas.
Good.
I'm doing quite well. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, we're down. We're up 72 points right now. The markets are going to open here in a few minutes. So
we just had a job unemployment number that was pretty jaw-dropping.
3 million. Oh, yeah. 3 million. I misspoke earlier, but I misheard that somewhere. But anyway, since 1982, I haven't had numbers like that since 1982.
3.28 million is what it's saying, and of course, Tom, we forgive you because in these times, getting numbers that are accurate is especially hard.
It's not easy, that's for sure.
It's especially hard, and people are investing with their emotions, and so every number has an emotional context to it, such as how many cases of COVID-19 are there, and how many people unfortunately have passed. And that's really the numbers that I think are going to drive the next month. I think there's one website from Johns Hopkins that's probably 30% of the server bandwidth on the planet right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's pretty full over there, I would imagine. Yeah, we have it here as well, that the numbers worldwide, I guess I should say that.
Usually, Tom, if for the listeners, usually when you go in and get to visit with Tom in person, he's got the debt clock, clicking along on his on one of his 15 monitors, in there. But
last Thursday, J.P. Morgan reported that the U.S. could have a drop of GDP in the second quarter of 25%. That would be just huge.
I saw that as well, Shane, and those are the numbers that are causing these whipsaws. I mean,
exactly.
Well, we had a record up day in the midst of this that we hadn't seen since the Great Depression.
That's right.
And just a couple of days ago, and the way that I look at that is the same way that I look at people that tell me that Zoom ZM ticker symbol is the hot ticket, and we should be buying that.
Yeah,
exactly. And I bring it up, and I look at it, and it was up 26% on the day, and I think it was 10 a.m. or something like that a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And when I look at something like that, I say, well, if it moves that fast up, it can move down too. And that's what we're seeing in the market is, sure, it feels good when we see things go up 10% in one day. But a couple of things we got to recognize, is that these statistically, that just means there's so much uncertainty. There's so much, there's no mooring between valuations and what people are willing to pay for them, because there's no knowing what the valuations are right now, especially when you have J.P. Morgan. Their models are very sophisticated, but if you were to ask them what their degree of error on that model was going to be for a 25% hit to GDP in the second quarter, they're going to, if you actually could get that number, it would be at least 15% error in one standard deviation. I mean, they don't know. They can't calculate that one because we don't know how long we're going to be closed for. And so we're here now. The government is on board, and phase one has been of the economy, I think has been solidified. Every front has a handout. The U.S. government is standing strong and acting, and there's going to be some red tape, but I'm happy to talk about, what I see businesses doing and what I see the package that was passed last night doing. And then, of course, the Fed has already been busy on this. They've opened their bazooka, so to speak, and so far the market thinks that that's enough.
Yeah. Well, we've heard the governor is thinking about closing more businesses, tattoo parlors, salons, nail places, just almost any retail business where people congregate in numbers of more than 10.
I think in this town they're already closed, I'm guessing, or at least they're not seeing, the shop owner that I visited with the other day, one of my friends owns the downtown running store, and there's no traffic. There's no customers. He's delivering shoes. He's mailing shoes, but there's nobody that wants to come into a store and touch things and try things on.
Yeah. Well, I even saw an ad this morning for a Lincoln that you can buy Lincoln online and they'll just run it out to your house. So if you want a new Lincoln, get online at Lincoln.com,
Isn't it amazing that in 2008 we were told that was going to be the death of the car dealership? That
you could buy online.
The car dealership would have, each one of their lines, and then you could go into the little sales desk and customize it and have it delivered to you.
Yeah, we'll have to look up Carvana and see how they're doing. I don't know if they're public or not, but
that's the used car industry. It's it's grown now in the last 10 years to $670 billion a year. It's bigger than the new car sales. So
well,
sure should be.
Yeah, well, the cash for clunkers failed badly. That was a dumb move to get people off the road and save the planet.
It's the wrong time.
Yeah.
Well, we've done a lot of the things the Treasury has done during these crises, at least in my memory, haven't really amounted to much.
Yeah.
They feel good, but like we talked about last week, getting a check when GW was in office for $600 to go buy a TV, and I don't even remember what that economic crisis was about, probably Kuwait or something. These $1,200 checks that are coming for people that make under $75,000 a year are nice, and they will help those people. They'll help anybody, who wouldn't want to get a check in the mail?
Yeah.
But it's very ephemeral. And I'll just mention to the listeners that if you get such a check, your financial advisor, your unofficial financial advisor, is my disclaimer, says that you should sit on it and bolster your cash savings, because we don't know. We know that the government's behind us. We know that various localities are doing everything they can, and everybody's doing something, I hope. But we still don't know if this is a 2 more week until back at work or a 2 more months until back at work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how this would go longer than that, and that's just my speculation. I'm not a medical practitioner, but if in 2 more months people in Bozeman are not showing up to work and not going to Main Street, there's going to be some other byproducts, and President Trump addressed that. He said that the cure shouldn't be worse than the cold.
Mm-hmm. That's bad consequences.
Yeah,
right. And everything that I've read from the medical community, and there's been a lot of videos, and like everybody, we watch these things, and some are horrific when they show the big square filling up with the evil black dots at exponential rates,
Mm-hmm.
But the one that stuck with me is that the medical community wants us to slow the spread of this so that they can deal with it in a more methodical manner and have less people that are without the care that they need. They didn't really mention in the things that I saw that the spread of this is going to have much of a change in trajectory that they can control. It's extremely contagious. We're seeing cases popping up in Los Angeles here. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know that I believe that people can't keep secrets. But there is obviously a delay in the official confirmed case numbers versus, what they're actually seeing on the floor out there. So that's good, right? They're managing behavior. They're not being irresponsible, reporting moving, real-time numbers of people that think they have it. And what's nice is that somebody's going to telegraph to us in subtle language and subtle ways which way the numbers are really going.
Well, that's right. The CDC announced, and this is big, folks, yesterday, it's a stable virus. Unlike H1N1, where it's unstable, and we have at least four different variations of it in the last 11 years. They say this one is very stable. And the good news about that is a virus means they only have one type of COVID-19 to fight. So that's
there's not COVID-19.1, 0.2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. It will come back next year. So they will need a vaccine for it, but it should make it easier to make one, and it should make it easier for people to decide now. Do you take a flu shot, which you can die from, or do you take a COVID-19, and are you healthy enough to take both?
That you could die from.
The big question in the fall: do you take both, or which one?
Well,
I bet it's a cocktail, Shane. I bet. I mean, they're just going to spin this whole thing together.
They'll put it all in there. Yeah. Well, Shane was just pointing out, worldwide we got 487,000 cases confirmed, and 117,000 recovered. So about 1 in 3. But again, we don't know the number of cases out there as to what the percent of recovery is, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who have not been diagnosed with it or have had it and developed some antibodies to it and, have moved on.
Yeah, and so, finishing or going with my thread of where we are, we're in a place of relative calm right now as we deploy these economic measures. And if you're a business owner, your decision is, should I fire the workers or should I try and take advantage of the SBA-administered free money loan program for keeping people on payroll? Yeah. That's a personal decision. You should be meeting with your advisors and your team. A lot of the retail places, it's a no-brainer. You have to let them go. You have to let the unemployment system work.
Yeah.
It's not your and then it's not the business owner's liability. Whereas I do have business owners that are pretty good employers in town that I know that are saying, well, we can see our business as being just as viable as soon as we get the getting better signal, we can get back to business. So we know we're going to be hiring back most of these workers. Maybe we should try and dance with the SBA-administered free money loan program that just got passed by by the Senate last night, and probably will smooth through everybody else. But, they've got red tape, delays, credit lines. It's a lot of liability on their part to carry all the workers through. And that's why for the small employer, you have to cut them some slack and say, yes, making it not your problem for now is the best one. And you can hire them back in the future. And they, in the meantime, they got $12,000 or $1,200 in their pocket. The unemployment benefits are going to be easier to get. The system's already there. I'm always a fan of working for the laws that exist on the books. But we're getting this, okay, now things are okay. Stock market had a good breather yesterday. Where do we are next? Well, like you said, it's these numbers that we're looking at on the COVID, and before they get better, they're going to get worse. And then there's a next level of fear that's going to hit individuals, which is, when do you know somebody that is sick? When does it come home? When does it come home into your sphere of society and become something that used to be a hurricane in the Southeast or a tornado in Tennessee, and now it's in your world, and that's where the next level of fear. And I think the next level of selling the stock market is. I think that it's likely we're going to have a new low out there. And I'm not being greedy when others are fearful, because, two things. One is it's hard. And for me to have that much confidence as a fiduciary for my clients that I can risk their money in a time of immense fear and uncertainty is a gamble, no matter who you are, no matter which expert money manager you are or how confident you are. And that's not what I do for clients. So a little bit of stock market advice in this one is, the game plan of doing nothing is still the game plan. If you have your Susie Orman money, which you should have, that should be plenty to get you through. If you're in an impacted industry that's going to change, you've got real questions and problems. If not, the best thing to do is enjoy your time with your family and maybe, paint the baseboard like I'm trying to get myself to do at home on my free time.
All right. We got to take a break, Mike. We'll be right back. So stay tuned. We're talking with Mike McCormick, McCormick Financial Advisors, and we'll be back with Mike and Shane and myself right after this. Stay tuned. 23 minutes after the hour, it's Thursday, March 26, 2020. Mike McCormick Financial Advisors on the phone, and Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox, brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. They're in the Best Western Grand Tree on North 7th, and they're doing takeout from 4 to 8. Give them a call at 556-6212, or check them out online at theclubtavernandgrill.com. Mike, we were talking a little bit, and I've got a question for you from our text line, 478-8298. Put the $1,200 into savings. Please explain who in Bozo, let alone America, has savings. Over 90% of Americans cannot survive a $400 monthly bill. That is unexpected. Are you out of touch with what paycheck to paycheck people go through every month? And at the end of April, when nobody can pay their rent or mortgage, or maybe the second month in a row, what are we going to do? 3.2 million have filed for unemployment last week alone. Are you going to tell them to put that money in savings?
Thank you. Yes, this is a community radio station, and I have no doubt I've lost touch with living paycheck to paycheck. I did my fair share of it. It was voluntary. I was a ski bum for a period of time after, and then went to graduate school, so I got both sides of that. But look, if you are low income, you are probably on unemployment, which pays less than your full amount. So you are cutting back. If you are low income, you are probably spending similar to what you were spending before, because you were not buying $5 lattes at Starbucks, and because you were not buying expensive takeout food instead of making your own food. And you already were cutting back because you weren't saving extra. You were already limiting, living paycheck to paycheck. Well, you know what? It's a good exercise for us to tighten our belts every once in a while. And we're tough Montanans, and everybody can cut savings somewhere. The Suburban that you had to have, that you got the expensive car loan for instead of buying a $500 car out of the penny saver, that's biting you right now. And so, yeah, you got to make some hard decisions about that. The $1,200 that are getting in the mail, sure, you can spend that on the needs that you have right now. But this will get worse. This $1,200 is needed to bridge the difference between your full paycheck and your unemployment paycheck for about 2 months. So I'd phase it in like that. If it goes longer than that, there'll probably be another stimulus program going through helping you. So I know it's not good news. I'm not promoting this as a placebo or panacea, whatever the one is where it cures everything all right away. But the government is there for you. The U.S. government says, hey, in 2008, we came in and we took all of the bad financial decisions that people had made. They didn't know they were owning toxic debt securities, but we're going to take them from them. Their overextensions on their credit lines, we're going to take it from them. The high rates on the adjustable arms, we're going to adjust rates. We're going to absorb for our people all of the disease, to use that word, the financial disease that happened in 2008. And then over time, we're going to deal with it slowly, judiciously, and with a scale that nobody else can do on the entire planet. And it worked okay. I don't think you could say anything other than worked okay to good. So the government's in that role again. They got our back. There's some industries that are suffering more than others. There's some parts of the country that are suffering than others. The $1,200 paycheck or check that's coming out in Montana means a whole lot more than if you were living in Manhattan. So it's not working. There's no ideal fit, but this is pretty darn good, I guess I'd say. And times like these, you got to be positive. You got to focus on what you can do. But I'll tell you what, every one of my peers, I'm 49, and so the 2008 recession hit me like a ton of bricks, hit all of my peers like a ton of bricks. We lost a ton of money. We've been spending a decade and plus working back to get back to where we can send our kids to school, have some hope for retirement. And you know what we also did along the way? We made sure that when 2008 hits again, we can walk down the street and not freak out, because 2008 was unbearable. And so all those peers that I know, they're not squeaky clean, but they have emergency money. They have low debt loads that are much more reasonable. They have cars that are paid off. And you know what they also have? They have a confidence that the U.S. economy is going to be fine after this. And that's really the most encouraging thing when I talk to these business owners. They say, oh, the virus is bad, and I worry for the people in my life that are older. I worry for the people in the community. I don't worry so much for myself, for my kids, but we're doing our part.
What time is it?
The economy.
What time is it?
What time is it right now?
Yeah. Time for a break, because we got to go to the news. It's the bottom of the hour.
Sorry, I'm going.
All right.
I'm not in the studio, so I can't see that,
I know.
that hand language anymore.
When we come back, any idea when the checks start coming? I've got 2 months emergency cash. Please tell us who qualifies to receive a check and what are the criteria. We'll be right back with those answers after this. 25 minutes for the top of the hour. We've got Mike McCormick is on the line. Shane Tobin is on the line, and we've got a caller waiting. Caller, you are on the air. Thanks for waiting. What's going on?
This is Clint.
Hey.
Good morning.
How are you guys? Morning. How are you, Mike?
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Thanks, Clint.
Vancouver, are you, or Kamloops?
No. Vancouver.
Okay, that's good. Well, I got to ask Tom a question, and then I got a suggestion.
All right.
Tom, what was the name of that testosterone pill that you were advertising on?
Ageless male.
It's what?
Ageless male. What Shane and I are.
Ageless male?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you something. This is a little joke I figured out this morning, and I'm so damn sick of the press, paranoid, and the people. They've got the people scared to death. And I don't like it, and I think a lot of people don't like it. So I'm going to give you a little uplift here.
All right.
Let's take a little bit of ageless male
Yeah.
and a bottle of whiskey and see which one kills us first.
All right. There you go. I'm with that.
See you later, guys.
All right. Thanks for the call, Clint.
Thanks, Clint.
Let's see. One of the before we went to the break, we were talking about 2 months emergency cash. Please tell us who qualifies to receive a check, and I think it's working people. I think you got to be employed, and making $75,000 or less are the people who. My understanding is that right, Shane?
Yeah, $2,500 a month and $500 for each child.
Okay, all right.
And they're using, as I understand, they're just going to go through the IRS and see
who filed, who filed and who was employed at the time, and
they'll use your bank information that they might have processed. Somebody's got a coffin stick going on. But,
So
they're going to use your bank and put it in there for you automatically.
I would be amazingly surprised if it was not taxable. I don't think it's.
And is it going? It's got to be going off of your 2018 tax return.
I was going to say I don't think it's tax free. So.
No, it's not.
Well, sure, but again, it's like which calendar year are we talking about?
Well, that's true. Yeah. So if it goes off this year's deal, then it would be okay. Let's take another phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air with Mike McCormick. What's going on?
Good morning, guys. It's Scott.
Hi, Scott.
How are you? Hey, I just want to say, I told my son a long time ago, I said, you got to have 3 months worth of everything, as far as I'm concerned. Money to pay stuff for, food, whatever. When you get time to prepare for something that's coming, when they tell you something's coming for a long time, for instance, I lived in the tropics for a while, and we would see a hurricane coming for days.
Right.
And days, and you get to prepare. But then you should be partially prepared. You should, and I think the important, you get an earthquake or something that happens right now, that's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the important thing is we all got pretty used to stuff. It was pretty cushy all the time. We didn't have to worry about much. And now we've had this thing that Clinton wants to say everybody's just paranoid about, basically is what he's saying. I have to think it's a little more serious. But I hope we don't get I think the important thing now is that we don't get cushy and comfortable with the government handing us a whole bunch of money, which is, I think, is what the Democrats are hoping happens. But I think it's important that we realize this is just a temporary, safety net for everybody. And when it gets, when this thing passes, everybody gets back to what they're supposed to be doing and preparing better for something that will come down the road.
Well, one of the things that was in the bill that I didn't realize, I saw it yesterday, and I haven't heard it on any of the news broadcasts, was the error they made that you can actually make more not working than you can working. So
I don't know if that was an error. I'm not sure that was an error.
Well, it may not have been, but they're calling it an error.
Well, it wasn't an error to give the Kennedy Performing Arts Center $25 million.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you've got to.
I mean, there's a lot of errors that at least we as conservatives look as errors.
Yeah, we kind of wonder about things like that.
Yeah, where's that money ultimately end up? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys. Nice show as always. Take care.
Hey, thanks for the show. Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Thanks for the show too, because we wouldn't be here without you. What do you think, Mike? Are we?
I was just going to say with the Kennedy Center, we're
all the billionaires that are social left. Why aren't they contributing to the Kennedy Center and solving that issue?
All right. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I mean, there's all sorts of great questions, and when you have a bill like this that's forced through that really needs to go through, they took the commensurate, one day of we couldn't agree, just to see how the stock market would react, and it's probably truly disgusting the amount of lobbying and whatever you want to call it that's going into this social program, and it is what it is. It's part of democracy. There's going to be a lot of slop. And when funds are misappropriated and somebody, some contractor from Whitefish gets a deal in Puerto Rico to make $1 bajillion or whatever, there's a form of stimulus there too. I just take that, and there's going to be slop and error. And obviously the one in Whitefish got canceled. But if that would have happened, then there would have been a new McMansion in Whitefish and a lot of big jobs and some velocity of money would have happened out of it too,
Yeah.
These times we're shooting with shotguns, not with precision rifles, or bigger than that.
Yeah.
And the unknown of when this thing stops, that's the whole question. The fear based off of the number of deaths, that's the emotional driver for the stock market. Liquidity is a term you hear all the time on the financial news. It means different things in different contexts. And it means different things for different people, too.
All right, guys, we got to take another break. Hang on, and we'll return. From our app chat line, my savings is in an online savings account, FDIC insured. Is it safe, or should I transfer it to a local bank? And you have to be employed in the year of 2018 because they pushed 2019 back till July 15th. It would, let's see, the stimulus be counted against next tax season deductions, or will it be free cash? We'll talk about that when we return right after this. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. We got another break at 50, guys. Keep an eye on your time. And Mike McCormick joins us, and Shane Taubman, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane and Mike McCormick of McCormick Financial Advisors. So I think we've established this is probably going to be taxable, Mike. I seriously doubt it's free money.
I agree, but the good news is if you're receiving it, your tax rates are pretty light. So
yeah, I would think so.
Carry on.
So good deal. So well, it could be quite a bit because you'll get $500 per kid, but you got $1,000 deduction or tax credit, I should say, per kid. So that will take that away. So.
Yeah, and again, I'm not a tax advisor, but if you are in that income bracket, your income's probably going to go down. Your tax liability in the future, withholding, all those sorts of things, it'll probably be fine. If there's an option to put withholding on this check somehow, if you need to go in and proactively accept it and have an option to put withholding, 5% state, 10% federal, sort of the national way to go. In the state, you could probably reduce that down to 0 and just see how it shakes out. But no, this is emergency time. It's not time to be planning for your tax liability over a year from now. It's time for you to be planning for the next month or two.
Yeah. You had a shrewd texter say that under President Trump, we have a better chance of holding this situation to a recession. I agree. The Democrats would push our economy to the brink by overreacting like usual. So do you gentlemen think we're probably better off with Republican leadership rather than the liberals in this time of crisis? Shane, what do you think?
I think
okay.
Shane wouldn't. You guys, there's no time that you guys would want to see the Democrats in power. So it's a leading question.
Yeah, I can't fathom a situation unless it was absolute peace and triple prosperity. and they promise not to do anything.
Fascinating that the examples of helicopter money we're talking about have happened under Republican regimes. So these are tools that anybody can use. This is not just because you eat a wafer and drink wine doesn't mean you're Catholic, right?
That's it.
So. Permit to make a hypothetical comparison.
Do what? I'm sorry, what?
I said, Ekman, I'm asking permission to make a hypothetical comparison.
Go ahead.
If the Democrats got into power and implemented the new Green Deal, I think what you're seeing in the market and what's happened because of this virus, you could basically say that's what would happen with your economy. So you're getting a real experience watching what's happening because of this virus and what it did. This market downturn and the unemployment numbers are a serious effect to your economy. And, the demolition party's been touting that that's what they want to do, but that they're, going to guarantee other and better new jobs.
Yeah. All right, let's take a phone call, guys. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane and Mike McCormick. What's up?
I would just like to remind all of our listeners that Mr. Daines voted for this crap with all the BS in it. You could say it is what it is. I say it's bullshit when it's bullshit. And how much would that $25 million have done to help out the folks in Townsend where the mill got closed down? I already saw my first Steve Daines commercial with a little clip of a bunch of lumber in the background. We need to wake up. Got to go to work.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Well, I just want to remind everyone it was 98-0, so Tester voted for it too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was going to say it was a pretty much a unanimous vote. So there you go. So I would go along with that. Time, if the Republicans are so great at running the economy, how come every time they're in office we have to throw trillions of dollars at Wall Street, Tom? Well, I don't know that we're throwing $1 trillion at anybody. Everything seems to be a loan.
Yeah, Mike and I talked this off air. It's like TARP back in 08-09.
Yeah.
And, the banks and everyone paid all of it back, and the U.S. government made a vast amount of money with the stock they got as well and sold. So, I think there's a huge upside to what they're doing, and it's a positive approach to wanting to stabilize the confidence of the economy.
Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, the government's got this long-term view that's different than the individual that's trying to put food on the table and figure out what to make of the day today. Partnerships like that in the past have worked. I'm not saying it's not a time for concern. It really all has to do with is the scare, have we reacted appropriately to the scare? How many new scares are there? Liquidity exists in your portfolio and that you can sell and get money for the price that you see that day. But the valuations, they're unmoored. They are not reflecting reality. So in that regard, this is mid-long-term money. Of course, as a financial advisor, I have to stress that don't mess with your retirement portfolios. The clients and the portfolios that I get to see, I can easily divide into two categories: those that did something during the 2008 and those that didn't. And the financially healthier people did not, and that's the game plan they're going with again this time around. Careful with emotional.
Yeah, I'd agree. Don't let your emotions run wild here because investments are long-term, not short-term. So got to take another break, guys. We'll be right back with more with Tom and Shane and Mike McCormick right after these important words. Stay tuned. 6 minutes for the top of the hour, and Mike McCormick is on the line. Shaman Taubman is on the line. And from our text line, guys, so only actively employed workers get a check. I worked for 46 years, and now I'm old and decrepit from so many years of hard work. I'm also in the age group at most risk from COVID-19. That lying dog-faced pony soldier of a governor we've got is making my wife and I travel further to pay more for goods and services. I guess I get no check when I'm on a fixed income. Costs are escalating, and I'm now in the age group most at risk from the virus. Yeah, that's about right. Sounds good to me. What BS? So there you are, guys. What do you think?
Boy, that is the truth.
Yeah.
There are people that is the, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This caller is exactly right. They are left behind. There's no recourse. They don't own a small business, so they can't go get a free loan to pay themselves a salary to give back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's that move for the small business owner. For the retiree, there's no relief for this particular crux. So hopefully your fixed income will go further. You know, I'm always a glass half full person. Inflation's not really a problem right now. You know.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one silver lining in there. You know.
Yeah, thankfully it's not a problem right now, but
gas is cheaper.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say.
But you can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the other thing I would say to this person, because he's in the same boat I am, you know, I'm a fixed income person, and my income hasn't changed. Now, I would agree that the governor has closed everything, so sometimes you got to go a little more distance to get things. And that would be true. But I think for the most part, people who are retired or who are on fixed incomes, their income's pretty well going to stay the same. Nobody's going to cut Social Security payments. Nobody's going to cut SSI or Medicare or Medicaid or anything like that. So, you know.
And the shock to the economy is all happening in some ways because we're not spending money where we used to. We're not going.
Well, that's true.
We're not going out to eat. We're not going to the movies.
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. You're not spending your fixed income like you might have been before, you know. But you know, you can still get medications, you can still get food, you can still get gas. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel badly for that demographic.
No, I do too. Yeah. Now, what we preach, of course, here, Mike, with you is avoid that at all costs. Save some of your. You know, I know people say I can't save a dime. Well, yeah, you can. You know, I'll look at your lifestyle. You know, if you're a smoker, you can save a dime. You know, if you're a drinker, you can save a dime. You know, if you're you know, whatever. You know, if you got cable, you can save a dime. If you got internet, you can save a dime.
Yes. If you got 3 kids in sports in Montana that all got canceled, you're saving a lot of dimes.
That's right. Yeah. If your kids have a cell phone, you can save a dime.
Oh, gosh. Right.
Now, it's not, you know, as I've said many times before, if you're willing to live for a short period of time like most people can't, you can live the rest of your life like most people can't.
And we don't mean to say that insensitively, but you know, feeling confident through times like these is a long-term project, and if anybody needs help on that, you know, I'm not really the best person, but there are good people out there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, the question is, should people be looking to get in and get good deals on things right now? And I fundamentally think it's not yet. And again, it has to do with the number of deaths and the math associated with exponential growth. There's going to be a lot more scary stories coming out. Hopefully we've got springtime coming, and I think that there is cause for optimism. And I do think, you know, to the Green New Deal beatdown that you and Shane gave earlier, this experience that we're going through as a global community should have some review. And it doesn't mean that we all need to be riding our bicycles to work, but it should have some review about, you know, we don't want this to happen again.
That's for
we
sure.
We don't want things like this to happen again.
Yeah.
And my soapbox is fundamentally lots of people all in one place doing things, they get sick.
Mike,
and, if
from
we were
our
tribes, this wouldn't.
Yeah, we're up against the clock here, Mike. But from our app chat line, the question about savings being safe in the bank, FDIC. Would you leave the money in the bank, or do you take it?
I absolutely would.
Okay,
I absolutely would. The only concern with online stuff is, can you get to the internet?
Yeah. And
thumbs up to Verizon and Spectrum and everybody else, but now that everybody's streaming all at the same time and on the phone at the same time, it's still working. So I got to give thumbs up for that.
All right. And isn't the federal government still operating under continuing resolution? Why do they not have a budget? Shane and I have talked about that endlessly. That, if they have a budget, they got to be audited. So every agency has to be audited. Nobody wants that. Mike, thanks a lot. I've got to go. We're out of time.
Have a great
show. Thanks, everyone.
All right. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, it is Thursday, March 28, 2020, 28 degrees outside, looking for a 40 today. Our guest online is a mother of 4, former neonatal intensive care nurse and attorney and state legislature with a master's degree in public health from Johns Hopkins University, who has dedicated her career to improving our justice system, protecting children and families, and putting people over politics. And she's earned a statewide recognition through across the aisle leadership. And she is currently, I should say, a Democratic candidate for Attorney General. And Kimberly Dudik joins us on the phone. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. I've got so many questions for you.
I'll try and answer as best I can.
All right. Well, I think the first one regarding our virus and things like that, we know the National Health Service here in Gallatin County has shut down a lot of things. Does the Attorney General have the power to do things, to shut things down, or when does that step on our First Amendment rights to free assembly or whatever?
Right. Well, no, the Attorney General doesn't have the rights to shut things down. I think the governor is, instituting rules, and we've seen things nationally. I think that the governor's one with those rights, but what the Attorney General does is they're the chief legal advocate or legal officer of the state. So if people thought their rights were being violated, then they could contact the Attorney General's office and talk about that and see if actually their rights are being violated. And if so, then the Attorney General would have standing to do that because they should be protecting our Constitution and people's rights.
Yeah, I'm wondering because in this morning's paper, I think they were talking about shutting down tattoo parlors, nail salons, beauty parlors, barber shops, things like that. And I'm wondering if specific businesses being targeted while others necessarily aren't. We were thinking about maybe truck stops or McDonald's where you can still go through and get fast food. Where do you draw the line on these things? Well,
we're in a state of emergency right now, nationally as well as in our state. And so both the president and the governor have the authority to institute rules that they think will help stop the spread of the virus. And although we're looking at maybe a change right now and including hair salons or tattoo parlors, already there has been an order that, restaurants and are supposed to only be doing takeout. And so the governor has already tried to do that. So if there was just maybe one sort of business being targeted and you couldn't make a logical explanation as to why, that would be a problem. But really at this point, we have to just stop the transmission of this virus, or it's going to get much worse, and then people will wonder why the government didn't actually do more to stop the spread of this disease that's going to probably start killing a lot of Montanans.
True. Yeah. The other things that are going on in the state, we've got a human trafficking issue with American Indians and also with the opioid, along with this virus. We seem to have a lot of issues with drugs coming through our communities. And what are your thoughts going forward on that?
Well, you've hit on a lot of issues that I care a lot about, that I've worked on quite a bit, and that I really do have ideas what we need to be doing. So as far as the human trafficking goes, that's a relatively new thing that we've started to term as human trafficking, and really has raised awareness in our communities that it's a problem. You mentioned the American Indian communities, but really it's seen everywhere, and it's something that we need to work as a state to try and stop people being trafficked, but also to try and decrease the vulnerability of some people. So I was part of working with our current Attorney General, Tim Fox, in 2015, and we substantially reformed at that point our human trafficking laws, making us a leader in the nation, especially with child sex trafficking.
Right.
And since then, I've changed our laws even more. But really, we need to look at what environments are creating opportunities for people to be trafficked, and if we really want to do more upstream thinking, because we can stop it from happening, but we need to look at why it's happening, and that's more of a public health approach that I take to everything. You mentioned opioids too, and we have drug problems in our state. We have a methamphetamine problem that is destroying our communities, and it drives a lot of our crime, include not just drug crimes, but property crimes and violence crimes, partner family member assaults. And we really do need to get a handle on that. Unfortunately, we can't jail our way out of the addiction problems we have in our state. We have a lot of drugs coming in, especially meth. We no longer have homegrown meth labs like we used to, but we're seeing really cheap meth coming in through our borders, both our northern borders and our southern borders, into our state. And we really need to increase our police force. I think could help with that if we actually had more highway patrol helping with that to get it off of our interstates. But also we need more work between our communities and our different jurisdictions in law enforcement, like our tribal law enforcement, our federal, our state, and our local counties and cities. We need more coordination there, and that takes resources. But if we really want to get a good handle on the drug problems in our state, we can't jail our way out of it. We need to really take a holistic approach, also dealing with treatment, because we don't have any real treatment for methamphetamine addiction. We have some for alcohol, but not even enough there.
The other thing that we have is many times many attorney generals will join together for a specific reason. Are there any going on now or that you see in the future that you would opt out of or join into that we're not in now?
So we're in a new world, really, with the coronavirus, and what we're seeing as real priorities for what our Attorney General should be doing and joining with other states. What we're seeing is that we're seeing a price gouging on different items, and we're also seeing such as like everything from pharmaceuticals to hand sanitizers to face masks. And so some attorneys general are joining together and working on those issues, trying to stop that price gouging. But we're also seeing those attorneys general join together and demand better work conditions for our workers. Just recently, there was a few of the attorneys general banded together and demanded better paid sick leave for employees at Amazon or other larger organizations because they don't have the sick leave they need. And right now, that's what people are looking at, is how do they pay their bills, take care of their families, and also stay healthy. So those sorts of things, really protecting workers and ensuring that our rights aren't violated are very important to me.
Yeah. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with candidate Kimberly Dudik for the Attorney General of Montana.
Good morning, Kimberly. Say, I've got a question for you. I appreciate you being on the radio this morning. A great opportunity to ask this question. Two-part. One is, do you have an investigatory capability within the Attorney General's office to inquire and investigate allegations of misconduct or crime?
So, I would say yes, because the Attorney General office, they oversee the Department of Criminal Investigation, oversee the Highway Patrol, and also oversee the Consumer Protection Agency. And so all of those have the investigatory authority to investigate misconduct or allegations of crime. There are also other entities that may be involved, and so as far as depending upon what it is, where that would fall. But the Attorney General does have the ability to investigate and ensure that the law is being followed.
So can you actually issue a request to to the investigators to go look at a certain allegation, or how does that work? Can you explain it further?
Sure. So I guess it would depend on the allegation, but the law enforcement officers are run like any other agency, where they would be investigating certain issues. Like, for example, human trafficking is an issue that has been going on in our state, which we were just talking about. But there are some businesses that have a higher incidence of possibly being used for human trafficking, such as massage parlors or even some nail salons. And so in working with the investigators, then you would talk with them and work on a plan to investigate and properly deal with those situations.
Okay, well, then let me carry it to the next step further. What if there is an allegation of negligence or malfeasance or corruption within the local county or city law enforcement area, do you have the ability to inquire about that, or is that somebody else's jurisdiction?
That's something that the Attorney General is supposed to be doing. When there are allegations of, for example, if one of the local law enforcement, there was an allegation of corruption against them, then it would then be referred to the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's office would be the one who would investigate that, because there would be a conflict of interest there then with the local law enforcement investigating that.
Right. Okay. You answered my question. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for the call.
You're welcome. Right. Thank you.
All right. Kimberly, we've got about a minute left here. Any final thoughts you want to bring to the forefront here?
Well, I just want to say that we should all be extremely thankful right now for those first responders who are out there on the front lines. Having been a nurse and worked as a prosecutor and worked with law enforcement has to still keep working right now, and our nurses and our doctors and medical professionals are really putting their lives on the line, keeping our community safe. So I just want to extend my thanks to them, and even people who are working in other places such as gas stations or grocery stores. Really, those are people right now. I just want to say thank you, and that really thank you for having me on the show and the opportunity to talk with you and your listeners. It's been an honor. Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you being here, Kimberly Dudik, the Democrat candidate for Attorney General, and we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming in and keeping us informed. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And stay safe. You too. Thanks a lot. Okay, bye. Thanks. All right, we'll be right back with more right after this. 19 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, March 26, 2020. Shaman Taubman, half man, half amazing on the line. And Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. This is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Jane. And brought to you by the Club Tavern and Grill. And you can get a free, not a free. You can go there for free, I guess, but... You can get a takeout dinner from 4 to 8 at the Club Tavern and Grill. Give them a call at 556-6212 or check out their online menu at theclubtavernandgrill.com. Check out the takeout menu at theclubtavernandgrill.com. And Shane, from our text line for Kimberly, I was upset that the Medicaid Reform Act covers able-bodied people too lazy to work, but yet the rest of us have to pay for it. I want someone in office who protects Medicare, but limits coverage to those who have worked for it and truly need the coverage. And I'm not sure if that falls into Kimberly because it's a federal program. I would think it would be under the Department of Justice, maybe. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the air with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, Tom, I just want to comment and a suggestion.
Sure.
I was on the phone yesterday with the nurse at Bozeman Health.
Yeah.
She told me that if you get the coronavirus and you live through it, you are immune for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I've heard that your body will develop antibodies to it if you go through it, sort of like other diseases. I think that's one of the reasons we've survived for millions of years, I think.
Yeah, I guess so. I just wonder if there are any comments if that's true or not. The other one is watch those gas pump handles out there.
Yeah.
I carry an old pair of gloves in my car, and I open them up and put them on when I gas my car up.
That's for sure. Yep.
Yeah. All right. That's all. That's all I have to say today.
All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I just want to comment to the listener, the caller. Make sure you have a plastic bag or a Ziploc bag to put the gloves in. Put them back in your car.
Yeah, there you are. Okay. Yeah, a plastic bag or a Ziploc bag to put them back in so you can protect them from whatever. Yeah, I wiped down my steering wheel cover and gear shift.
I'm just saying, I do the same thing. Well, I don't have a car, but my nephew does the same thing, but he has gloves at work, so he throws them away. But, it's a good idea. But then
if you take them and put them in your car, you run the risk of, having the virus in your car. So keep it sealed. Or keep the gloves sealed.
Okay. All right.
Oh, by the way, I just want to make an observation. Market's doing really well. The New York Composite Index is at 10,250, up 288, 2.9%. So, it's down from 14,000, of course, but the overall market now is trending strong. Not just the Dow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's right now it's up 823, 825 just topped up
that's
too.
the Dow.
Yeah.
That's
So at least we're in positive territory once again. So let's
and at 22,000.
Yeah. Now let's take a phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Call you on the air. What's going on?
Well, somebody said to Daniel R. Peterson, if I want to learn about the Federal Reserve central banks, I should drive 2 or 3 hours to Helena, find the big building there, and say, golly, tell me how the Fed is run. But that would be like saying, drive over to St. Louis and find the weed spray factory of Roundup and ask them the quality of glyphosate. Would they point out the dangers of the chemical and the weaknesses of it, or would they put out a good show? Or asking the aspartame people the safety of artificial...
Well, wait. On your first comment, Monsanto has got a multi-billion-dollar class action suit with regard to Roundup.
Well, the other thing is you're comparing a private company to a public entity.
That's right.
All right. Well, let me just finish this off.
Now, if you wanted to go in and ask the FBI if they're going to be up front with you, or the CIA or NSA or any of those.
Scams in private and public. All right. Somebody said if even a person with sixth grade education can tell the need for the Fed. Well, I have more than a 16 grade education. That's a bachelorette and some masters. And 35 years ago, I started getting suspicious of the Fed. So I've looked into it. Now, since you guys do support the central bank Fed, can you tell me what evidence you found in your years of research that would support the Fed's claims that it's propping up the economy properly?
Well, it only has two functions. One is unemployment and one is setting interest rates. That's the only two things it does. That's its two jobs primarily. And before the Fed, we had 30,000 different currencies. So,
the other thing about the Fed is it defends the economy. It doesn't prop it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
What did you just say? The Fed doesn't prop.
He said it defends the economy, doesn't prop it up.
Well, yeah, that's just words.
So is the Fed is corrupt. That's words too. So
here's what the Kansas City Fed says. What do? We regulate the banks. We make for an effective and efficient payment system. And 3, conduct monetary policy. Have they been very effective in any of those 3 things? That's right from the Fed's mouth.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question then, Daniel. How many governors, federal governors, are on the Fed chair board?
I think that's 12 or 16.
20. So, when they have their meetings, and mostly by phone, they discuss all these issues, and they all individually can make public comments about it. So, what you're talking about is what one Fed governor's opinion is, as opposed to the overall Fed. But the federal chairman speaks for the entire Federal Reserve.
And he's got both autonomy and is supposed to be connected to the whims of the president. What if you have a corrupt president? He'd choose a poor federal chairman, and or Trump says that he's chosen him now, and he doesn't like the way he's working. That's
not exactly true. He talked to him last week, and they had a great conversation about what the Fed's doing, its participation in this bill that's just been passed. And they're trying to create more liquidity, but through the operations that the Fed has to make it possible for someone that has a small business to go into any bank and immediately get a loan. Now, if the money is used to pay their employees and keep their business open, then it can be turned into a grant over the next 2 years when they file their income tax returns. So, it's a primary obligation of the Fed to protect the economy.
Also, the Fed bought up all the bad loans back in the TARP when the Neighborhood Reinvestment Act forced banks and other entities to loan to people who could not in any way demonstrate an ability to pay it back. So,
yeah, and the creature from the Jekyll Island.
1910.
Yeah, 1910. That's took the words out of my mouth.
So we're in 2020.
Well, all right. That's when it was formed, and it was voted in 1913.
Yeah.
Okay, that they said they were going to protect us from the big bad bankers, but the big bad bankers were the ones that were the primary consultants to put it together. And right after that...
Well, they have the best interest.
Historically, you're wrong.
All right. We'll talk about it when we come back, because we've got to go.
All right.
We'll be right back. 25 minutes before the top of the hour. Hey, more time at home means using more energy than normal, which can result in higher energy bills. Contact Northwestern Energy today to discuss payment options and programs that will help during this time. More at northwesternenergy.com. And from our text line, Shane, sorry, Tom and Shane, I'm at the point where when Daniel comes on the radio, I change the channel. I'm hoping that eventually I don't just forget and not change it back someday. I am over that guy. And by the way, Daniel, enjoy your stimulus check that you will be receiving in the mail. You're welcome from the horrible USA. And when we left Shane, we were talking about where Daniel was mistaken on the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve was created for two primary reasons. The U.S. federal government had decided, as you pointed out, that they had to stop each state printing cash. And so they stopped that and they created a national currency, and the Treasury printed it, and it was the responsibility of the Federal Reserve with the 20 banks they set up across the country to distribute through the Federal Reserve System money to local banks. That's number one. Number two, every check that was issued since the existence of the Federal Reserve, whether it's a personal check you write or a business check that's written, flows through the Federal Reserve System to the Federal Reserve Bank in that district, and then to the bank where it was issued from. So this is important to understand, because the guy that started FedEx looked at that system and said, I think I could create a company that uses a similar idea, to deliver packages. And of course, he wrote a paper in college for a PhD, and the professor threw it back at him and said that could never be done.
Yeah.
Well, we know how wrong that professor was.
Yeah.
So the uniqueness of the Federal Reserve to physically have responsibility to deliver currency which they failed to do in 29, which was the cause of the Big Depression. We talked about that. But to clear checks in the United States now, of course, it still does it, but there aren't as many except for payroll checks and so forth. Because most people use credit cards now; they don't write checks for stuff.
But that's same situation. Credit cards are the same thing. They still go through a clearing situation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. My feeling of it is, and I appreciate Daniel calling in. We feel the need to correct some information from time to time, and that's what we're here for. We're here to promote different points of view and to correct information if it's not accurate. And so that's why we do what we do.
That's right. And so
it's pretty simple.
It's not complicated.
No.
And it makes for good radio.
Yeah. Does anybody out there know the status on Hobby Lobby opening? I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that they were talking about maybe May, something like that. I think they've got all their things out of the way. $2 trillion bailout. Yay, socialism. Where's my check? Well, socialism, I don't believe, is loans with interest.
That's right. Which it is not a bailout.
It is not a bailout. So get your terminology correct. So as I said, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, let's take a phone call while I'm looking through the text here that I haven't gotten to. Caller, you're on the air. What's up?
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Hey, I heard that commercial right after Daniel was on, and maybe he wants to invest in those gold pieces. You have a little gold in his pocket. Although they are going to charge you more than the value of the gold itself. But he can still get that free penny that's 100 years old. So that's my suggestion. And then he doesn't have to worry about the Federal Reserve anymore because he'll have his gold coin.
Okay. That's fair enough observation, yeah. But leverage, if you're going to play that game, I've said this ever since I've been on with Tom, silver is a better leverage because you can buy it in coinage. So, in a case of extreme emergency, it'll be a better tender to buy food or whatever than.
Yeah, the collectability may be more valuable than.
That's right.
Because
just the metal itself.
It does. Yeah. Yes, it does. Hold the value, or it goes up and down with inflation too. So, I mean, I bought gold in the past.
A lot of people buy. It's thought a lot of people buy gold because of some disastrous occurrence, and the gold's going to go to $10,000. And as I say, if that were to happen, I don't foresee that ever happening. But if it were to happen, you'd have a better leverage owning silver coins because. If gold, it's at gold's at 1,600. If it went up 10 times to 16,000 an ounce, I mean, silver would go to like $50. So the leverage you'd get on silver would be far greater than you would on gold.
Yeah, because see, when I invested in some of that back in the 90s, I got gold for $3.75 an ounce, and I think I paid silver. Yeah, it was that low for a little bit, and I got my silver. I think I was buying that for $3.50 an ounce, which was a little above the spot price. But you know what? It was worthwhile because when I got in some financial trouble, about 10 years later, I just cashed some of that in, and it put me over the hump, and it got me out of the problems, and. Yeah, so it's an investment that worked for me really well. I don't know if I'd want to invest in gold right now, but I do agree with you on the silver. Silver's a lot more. It's an industrial metal.
Yeah,
that's right too. That's why. Yeah, that's right.
More so than gold.
Why, and it's easier to. It's less expensive to buy, and it's easier to sell down the road if you need to. But so I would suggest Daniel, man, invest in those gold pieces that you guys are advertising.
Yeah, there you
anyway,
go.
I'm halfway sarcastic about that, but don't get stuck on the Federal Reserve. I mean, I used to go to those seminars, back in the 80s, Bo Greitz and stuff, and I've heard it all, man.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, just so people know that over 60% of usage of gold that's produced annually is for jewelry. So, if you want to buy gold, go buy a gold necklace at a jewelry store.
Yeah,
I mean, really, if that's,
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call. All right. We've got to take a short break. We'll be right back in, 2 minutes? 2 minutes. All right. Hang on. 15 minutes before the top of the hour. And no, you will stop right there. You will stop right there. 15 minutes for the top of the hour. And it's Thursday, March 26th. From our text line in the category of how ignorant can you be? Let's see. Definition of socialism. Any of the various economic and political theories advocating collective or government ownership and administration of the means of production and distribution of goods. Trump, in exchange, the government will take stock ownership of these companies, big, beautiful companies, thus I can tell you. And to the best of my knowledge, Trump hasn't nationalized any company for anything.
And has no interest in doing that.
Has no interest in doing it yet. Is that $1,200 check a loan? No, it's not a loan. It's income, just like the socialist unemployment is income. Right?
That's right. Your Facebook is up $9 to $157.
Ooh.
The
the wife will be happy about that.
Yeah, she will be, yeah.
Hey, Tom, doesn't Big Dog kind of remind you of Sergeant Joe Friday of Dragnet? I mean, he tells liberals like Daniel all he wants is the truth and accurate facts.
That's very kind of you.
That's it. Absolutely. The big dog is on it. Was a teacher for 36 years and I'm now 66 years young. Tell Daniel that years of education usually has an inverse relationship to common sense and ethics. So that may be the case. I don't know. I think I learned more out of school than I ever learned in it. So
we're not going there, Tom.
I know. Yeah. Do you know if there is unemployment available to independent contractors? My wife is a therapist with a couple of schools. Well, I guess a call to the job service would be my case. I'm an independent contractor here at KMMS. I'm not an employee of Town Square Media. So, if I was kicked out of work, I don't know if I would get unemployment or not because I'm pretty much self-employed. So,
but you would if you paid in your.
Well, tax. You pay in self-employment tax.
Yeah, if you own a small business, you have one of two choices. You can pay in each month what you think you're going to owe in taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if you should do it, and the reason that you should do that is that you can then collect unemployment. But if you don't, like most people that own a small business, they wait till the end of the year and then they file their tax returns and pay their taxes.
Yeah.
So. Well, that's not wrong. If you pay into the monthly for yourself,
right?
If you pay into the payroll savings. If you pay in payroll savings for yourself every month, that's how you get unemployment in a private company. But a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, most companies pay every month. A lot of people don't know that a company on Main Street will usually pay monthly to the government. So that's why they have money coming in all the time. So it's not just April 15th when everybody pays all at once. There's money coming in constantly. So
the point being is that major corporations that have large payrolls they're the tax collector for the government, and they take money out of your check to pay for unemployment insurance and the payroll savings tax for Social Security.
I would check with the unemployment office. They would be able to tell you about independent contractors. And I know they've made some provisions, some differences in who is eligible for this, not just employees, but there may be other factors that if you're a one-man show or something.
Right.
Or if you've lost business, if you're a service business, for example, and you're a carpet cleaner maybe, or something like that, or a handyman or whatever. So, check with the job service. They can give you an idea of what what your options are and what avenues are available to you.
And they'll give you all the documents to file so that you can that monthly payment so that you
all of those things. And also, if you are an independent contractor, perhaps a SBA loan might be available to you as well. So that would be another avenue to look at. So, all right, we got to get the Rush update in here because I know you're all waiting with bated breath for Rush's pearls of wisdom. So here we go. 5 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Thursday, March 26, 2020. Coming up tomorrow, Greg Gianforte, congressman from Montana, will join us at 7 o'clock. And at 8 o'clock, the county commissioners will be in, so we'll find out the latest on the coronavirus and what's going on in the county. And let's see, from our text line, now I had one I particularly wanted to read.
You're looking
Go ahead.
What's moving this market is your president and
his positive, optimistic view of what he's going to do. So while we've been on, the euro has gone up a whole basis point to 109.
The British has gone up 2 whole basis points to 120. And the
Canadian dollar has dropped a basis point to 140. So the global view of what America's doing is so positive. This is so great, Tom. This is what's moving money back to the market.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, from our text line, Tom, I hope I haven't done anything to offend you. If I have, it was totally unintentional. I apologize if I have, so please read my text. The last 4 I've sent haven't been read. Well, I apologize for that. I'm not sure. I read the one for Kimberly from you. So I don't know whether they got lost in the shuffle somewhere or what, but I try to read as many as I can. And you're not going to insult me. That doesn't.
Not the eagle, that.
No, I've been on the air long enough that hey, I will take it. I will take it. So, for example, Tom, the president said he wants the government to have equity in bailed out companies. The ignorance is yours, as that is the definition of socialism. You can laugh into your microphone, but you are not entitled to your own facts. Well, as long as it's my show, yes, I am.
Well, first of all, it's not a bailout.
Yeah.
It's a loan.
Yeah.
And part of the loan is a benefit to the American people.
Yes.
In this form of stock for helping them through this difficult time. And once again, TARP. Yep. Big money, all paid back, and all the stock the government made billions for the country. So
that would be it. Yeah. Let's see. Chucky Schumer might praise Democrats for input on the stimulus. In reality, President Trump left-handedly got praised by Chucky, since our president was primarily responsible initiating the recent proposed $2 trillion stimulus bill. President Trump is proactive and does his best, putting America people back to work as soon as feasible, while Democrats try to impeach him and take credit for every positive thing Trump does. A go figure. So.
Well, if you listen to Cuomo in his news conference yesterday, he was all over Chucky and mad as hell that, other states are getting more money than New York.
Yeah, that's true. From our text line, 478-8298. So why is it the Dem-run states the virus twice or more as bad? And doesn't read mine either. So.
Well, you just have to. We've talked about this for years, Tom, where the Democratic Demolition Party has run states and cities. Well, why would anybody be surprised? I mean,
Yeah. Independent contractors can't get unemployment insurance benefits unless they paid for the insurance, and that would be the case.
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah.
Let's see. What if you worked for temp work service but paid weekly taxes and 1040 at the end of the year? Well, there again, I'm not sure. I would talk to the job service, I guess. I'm not a tax attorney, so I'm not sure how those all play together. But anyway, we're out of time, Shane.
Yes, indeed, Mayor. Great to talk to you. Great for the phone calls. We'll talk tomorrow. Everyone be happy, be safe, live in the moment, live to work, and God bless the people in the Gallatin Valley.
All right. Thanks, Shane. All right. We got to go. And tomorrow at 7 o'clock, Greg Gianforte will join us, and the county commissioners will be on the phone with us at 8 o'clock. So we'll try and have more info for you tomorrow on the virus and all the things that are going on in the markets and the stimulus and everything else. So we'll see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.